Okay, hey everyone, I'm Francis and I'm doing a work placement at a primary school called St. Peter's in Kent. It's really far away. I teach 4 years, years 3, 4, 5, 6, which covers all Key Stage 2. I am the first Spanish language teacher that they've ever had, which is pretty good because when you come in all the kids are quite enthusiastic because they've never done anything like it before. They've learnt French, but what they've learnt is just to sing song and 1 to 10, and that's really it. So they don't really know any real French. But when I came in and taught Spanish, they really found it interesting. And one of the things that I do with them is that like you do, I create PowerPoints. And in my PowerPoints, like on the first week, I put 10 of the most well-known fruits in the world, because I thought, well, where should we start off? And I was like, well, fruit, something fundamental, something people will have to know, basic language stuff. And this helps because working at the secondary school, I found kids who struggled, they would say that, oh yeah, well, I did French or I did Spanish in primary school and we did things too quickly, too fast, and it just got me confused. And then when I came here, I just learned everything and it was just all messed up in my head. So I thought, okay, well, clearly I'm not going to give the primary school kids, regardless of what year they are, anything too difficult, because it could have future implications. So let's just start off with something small. And so I stuck to presentations of fruits, of numbers, colours, animals, little things like that. That's basically all we've covered so far. And it'd be presentations, PowerPoints, with a picture, and it'd be, okay, this is the picture, and we'd either do a little hangman, like, okay, it begins with this, who can guess the letters, and it gets them all excited to learn the new word. I think that's a very effective method, and it's worked with all my classes so far. Everyone gets really excited, and then if you divide them up in between their little tables and say, okay, you've won a point and you've won a point, they all get really into it, and they're all quiet. And for me, everything's worked out really well like that. I did some boring theory research, and one of the theories I found was the communicative language teaching theory, and it was saying that if you give the kids some kind of objective, some kind of outcome, something they know will be useful, that in itself will make sure it's not, everything you do isn't undermined in their head. So if they think, okay, I'm learning this for this reason, then I do it, and when I come out with the outcome, it will all have been worth it. And that's something that they come up with in their own heads. I mean, obviously not for everyone, but in my opinion, I think it's worked, and that's why I found it quite useful. So this also helps because some kids, as you get older especially, they don't really behave as well as you want them to. And instead of taking them out, of saying, okay, you know, just be quiet, I found that one of the best ways is to kind of play into the little trying to control the situation game. By giving them the control they want, and being like, for example, if we say the Spanish word for seal is foca, and they're like, oh, foca, it's so funny, we're like, oh yeah, it's so funny. You just play along with it for a little bit, they feel they've had their little moment of glory, and they be quiet now. And they join in with the activity. And I feel that's worked way better than exclusion, than saying, oh, I'll put your name on the board, than anything like that. I've also tried positive reinforcement to help as well. I went down to the pound shop and I bought a pencil case full of little goodies like pencils and pens and things and gel pens, just little things. And I've been like, okay, you know, the table who's best today, who wins the most points, gets to pick something out of the pencil case and gets to win based on how good you are, which really gets everyone in their kind of working state, which I've also found very good. And because they're small, it's all just been working really, really well. What I've learned out of this, I think, is to be flexible, because I once tried teaching them Old MacDonald Had a Farm in Spanish, and I did this to every year, and every year it was a catastrophic. It was terrible. None of them could do it. It was really slow paced. Old MacDonald tenía una... They just couldn't do it. So, and then I had my backup plan, but one of the things I learned was always have a backup plan, because things don't always go the way you want, even with things you think are basic, but they may not be. I've also done some bingo, which they've all really enjoyed as well. I give them worksheets from what we learn in the presentations, and I ask the teacher to recap before I go in on what